Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend, and we're back to the swing of things again, I guess you could say. What are we going to look at today? Today we're just going to look at how the miners did against Bitcoin's past week. It wasn't great. We'll also take a look at the miners that are going to be reporting here, quarterly results coming up this week and then next week as well. So there's quite a few things happening in there. We'll have plenty to talk about during the week for that. And then that's it. We'll get into your guys' Q&A. Should be pretty easy here. So as always, you guys know the drill, right? Not financial advice for tune only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. If you would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin here over the weekend. It did what I thought it was going to do. It went basically flat, so which is good. I didn't want any major price movement happening over the weekend. We didn't get that. I'm happy to see it. But we were basically up a little bit here on Saturday. We were up 0.44%. We were down today 0.33%, kind of a wash basically. We are down a little bit here on the new day for Monday now. We are trading at approximately $96,100 and some odd dollars, right? So not much going on here, not much action. We're still in this kind of range bound situation, trading sideways, whatever you want to call it. We're still inside this wedge here that I think eventually we'll break through it. I just don't know exactly when we'll do it, but I think we will break through this. It's looking more like we might not do that until possibly like the early part of March. So if that's the case and we continue to trade sideways here, we got a couple more days left in February. We got basically, what do we got? 5 days left, more or less, and the end of February. And Bitcoin's not doing that great so far. We're down about 5% on the month so far. So we didn't have any miners obviously trading today. We did have a little bit of a dip in the network hash rate for Bitcoin here. This is on the daily here. You can see that that is down to right now about 728 exahash. If we look at the 7-day average as well, we can see that that's actually come way down here as well to 771. We were at a peak of 845. This was back on like the beginning of February, but that has come back down here. That's probably because of cold weather. I think Bitcoin being kind of flat more or less right now also has contributed to that as well. Some of the older miners might be getting unplugged and just the weather, all those things play into it. 30-day average has also come down here. We did hit a high of 807 exahash on a 30-day average, and then we're back down to right now about 801. So we're down a little bit, but it's not that bad. So that's a good thing for the miners that are still mining at these levels. It's just they're maintaining their revenue right now. It's not being reduced because of the network hash rate going up and difficulty going up and all that stuff. So right now it's kind of good. We'll see how long this lasts. Like I've talked before as well, a lot of the miners have a little bit of growth left for this year, but it's not like what we saw last year. Last year we obviously saw a heck of a lot of growth, where we went basically from, this is October, but this is going way back here, April. Well, we started out basically in February of last year at 569, probably even lower than that. And then by the end of the year, we were at, a nice 300, almost 300 exahash increase here. This was January 1st, we were at 781. So 200 exahash basically increase during that time, right? Yeah, 200 exahash. So that was a lot that got installed. We're not seeing that happening for this year. We have a couple miners that are going to be growing another 10, 20 exahash. Some are pretty much fully installed right now. Some have a little more growth happening in the second half of the year as well. But from the big publicly traded miners, there really isn't much growth. Not what we saw last year at least. But that could change, right? They could always go into growth mode if they wanted to here, but we'll see. All right, so that's it on network hash rate. Here's Bitcoin right now, down 5.71% for February. Like I said, we got 5 more days left in February. We'll see where we end up at. Historically, February has been a really good month for us. It's not playing out that way this time. It at least doesn't look like it right now, unless we get a nice rally here at the end of the week. But we'll see. We'll see if we can squeak out at least a green February. We'll see. And that one. Okay, a couple miners are going to be reporting here this week. This is thanks to Bitcoin Bella here. Miner earnings dates for this week. So we got Riot Monday the 24th. So that's going to be tomorrow. That's going to be interesting to see what they do there. And can they squeak out a profit even if they don't use the FASB rules, right? So we'll see on that one. Cypher's going to be on Tuesday along with BitDeer. That's going to be interesting for those two there. Marathon's going to be on Wednesday. And then Friday we got Wolf. So that's also going to be pretty interesting here. And then Hut 8 is going to be on Wednesday, which is going to be March 3rd. So we'll look into that one as well when that comes out. And I think that's pretty much the rest of the ones that I'm missing here. I know we have one from IREN, Cleanspark, Hive already, so that's 3. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 8. So we're still missing somebody there. Who are we going to be missing? Bitfarms, I think, right? Or did Bitfarms already report? I can't remember now. There's just been so much stuff going on here. I don't know if Bitfarms has reported yet, but we'll maybe take a look at it here. But so it's going to be a busy week with quarterly results for the miners here. A lot of these guys also have end-of-year results, part of that as well. All right, so that's it for earnings here. What's coming up really quick, and then let's take a look at Bitcoin here for the past week and then the last 52 weeks, basically how have they done. And I have added in here strategy as well. A couple of you guys have mentioned to put that in there for comparison to see how the miners have done compared to MicroStrategy or now strategy B, whatever they want to call themselves. So we do have them in here now, right now, and we'll track it going forward in the next 52 weeks to see if the miners can actually outperform strategy going forward or if strategy is going to be kicking their butts again. All right, so that's in there now. So on the light reddish, pinkish color chart, bar chart, that's looking at the miners from their 52-week lows to their now current price as of Friday, just to see where they're up to. And we can see here that strategy is up the most, 335%, followed by core, pretty close, 313%. Then you got quite a substantial drop down to HUT being up only 164%, along with IREN 162%, then BitTF 150%. Then we go down to Cypher 106%, and Bitcoin's up 101% in the last 52 weeks from its lows. And then we got Riot at 64%, and then we got another big drop down to like 15% for Cleanspark, Hive at 14.2%, Marathon 11.3%, and Bitfarms is only up 3.1% from that time frame. So a lot of these guys have been underperforming here, Bitcoin. Some have been outperforming Bitcoin at least a little bit. Not the typical that we would expect of it, but they have been doing a little bit better. And then we can see that the miners and MicroStrategy, as far as how far away are they from their 52-week highs? Well, a lot of these guys now are at 40 plus percentage points away. Furthest one away is Bitfarms here, 66% away, followed by Cleanspark at 62.6%. And then you got Marathon 57, Hive at 55, BitTF 51%, right? So that one's had a recent drawdown on that one recently here, because that has done really well up towards the end of last year, but it's definitely come down here recently. And then everybody else is in like in the 40s, 30s, and then Bitcoin's only 9% away from its top here. So Bitcoin's still pretty close to that. Now, looking at the numbers for last week here, and the 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks, we can see here now that Bitcoin was actually up 2%. I track it from Friday to Friday, and just like I do the miners as well. Bitfarms was down the lowest amount here, was only down 7% here. So nobody outperformed Bitcoin here last week. Bitfarms was down 7%, Cypher was down 9%, Strategy was down 11%, Cleanspark was down 12% along with HUT 8%, Hive was down 13% along with Marathon, Core was down 14%, Riot was down 15%, IREN was down 16%, and BitTF was down 21% on that one. Now when we look at the 4 weeks chart here, things look a little bit different here. Bitcoin's down 3% from there. The only one that's outperformed here is IREN, being up 6%. Everybody else is down. You can see BitTF being down 29% from 4 weeks ago. Marathon being down 20%. HUT being down 17%. Cypher being down only 4%. And then you can see how everybody else stacks up there as well. Looking at the 8 weeks, things change again here. Bitcoin's up only 1% from 8 weeks ago. And then everybody else is down. BitTF is down 50% here from where they were back then. So definitely a huge drop in their price action here, followed by Core being down 30% as well. And then we got Marathon and Hive being down 25%, HUT 8 being down 26%, Bitfarms being down 23%, Riot down 15%. So everybody has underperformed Bitcoin in the last 8 weeks. And then 12 weeks, things look just as dire as they have in the prior weeks as well. But Bitcoin's down only 1% from 12 weeks ago. You got Bitfarms being down 42%, Cypher down 23%, Strategy down 24%, Cleanspark down 38%, HUT down 41%, Hive down 43%, Marathon down 45%, Core down 36%, Riot only down 19%, IREN down 29%, and BitTF down 38%. A lot of these guys got hit hard with the DeepSeek revelations that came out there as well, if you recall, just a couple weeks ago. That definitely put a hatchet on their price, basically. Overnight, relatively quickly, they had a 30%. Some of these guys had 20-30% drops at that point. So that wasn't a good thing for them here. But that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just Bitcoin's more or less flat. Miners have been getting kicked in the gonads a little bit. And we are where we are. So will we see a reversal happening here? I still think so. I still think we're kind of in the middle of the cycle right now. I don't think Bitcoin has peaked yet, so I think Bitcoin does go up to 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be later on this year, that the miners will do better going forward. But right now, yeah, it's like getting your teeth kicked in a little bit. So definitely not pleasant there. Then we can see here, I should probably hide this one here. Let me see, hide column, there we go. So makes it a little bit better there. But Bitcoin was up the last 2 weeks. The miners were kind of mixed. I mean, obviously the miners were down this past week. They were a little bit more mixed the prior week. Prior to that, more mixed than we had red. But we're seeing a lot of red anyways, right? Then we had kind of 2 good weeks more or less, a red week, a green week, 2 red weeks here. So it hasn't been pleasant, right? Let's be honest. It hasn't been pleasant. So this is where we are right now. We'll see what the miners do tomorrow, right? We got miners reporting as well, and we'll see where we end up on things. What else do we have here? Going over here, institutions. Well, I think, I'm still waiting on some of these guys to report the quarterly results. When they do that, we'll look at some of the quarterly metrics as well. But here are the enterprise metrics right now as of Friday. So yeah, still a lot of guys here that I believe are undervalued. Some of these guys here I believe are overvalued, as you guys know. And that's kind of where we're at. So let's get into your guys' Q&A. But as always, spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members. I'll get that out to you guys either later on tonight or tomorrow with all these sheets that I have here right now. And link for that is on the description if you want to gain access to all these spreadsheets that I do. It's $8 a month through Patreon, or you might be able to find a couple spots that are still $4 and $5. If you find those, jump on those because that's huge savings there for you guys. And yeah, that is it. So let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have to say. Any questions, comments, anything at all. Let's get into it here. And as always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark or something like that, that would be fantastic. Okay, so let's work our way back up a little bit here. I'm going to work my way down, trying to find all the questions here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, covered comments here. Okay, question, here we go. From Nick Lee. Question, bought Cleanspark first at 15.5 being DCA now average 12. Is the market scared now, or am I catching a falling knife? I think the market is just scared right now. Bitcoin's trading sideways. That's never a good thing for the miners in general. So whenever Bitcoin does that, the miners will fall, even if Bitcoin stays flat more or less, but the miners will fall when that happens. But if you believe that Bitcoin is going to be going up and we're not done with the cycle yet, I think getting in at these prices right now, it would be a good thing. I did the same thing. I bought more back on Friday. I bought more Cleanspark and I bought more IREN as well, because I still believe that they will go up from here. I could be wrong, right? So as always, not financial advice. I do your own research and all that stuff. So you're going to have to do what you're going to do, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Thoughts on Mara prices after they diluted the shares? Right now, I mean, Mara's, where's Mara at right now price-wise? They are, don't even remember now. Mara's at $14. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely way down from where they should be, but so are a lot of the miners as well. But here's Mara. Mara had a pretty rough day here on Friday. It was down approximately, it doesn't even show me how much it was down on the daily for Mara. Or is it? Yeah, it's not. There we go. Maybe now it'll show it. Nope, still not showing it to me. Oh, yeah, it was down 8% on Friday. So it wasn't good. It right got up to $30 here in November, and it's been coming back down. So I think eventually it will. I mean, that's kind of, it's bounced off this area before here as well. So maybe we'll get a bounce. If it goes a little lower, it might be down to like $13.21 where it bottomed out here a little bit. And then maybe we'll get another bounce here. We'll see what happens, right? If Bitcoin goes flat for a little bit longer, we could see that. Or if Bitcoin does start going up here in March, we'll probably start seeing maybe price appreciation in not only Mara, but in the other miners as well. Only time will tell on that, though. No crystal balls here. Okay, let's see. Seb, why do you think the cycle will be over in Q3? A lot of people are saying end of March, beginning of April. But who's saying that? I mean, are they saying because we got that last year or last cycle where we peaked at, what was it, 63,000 or something like that, and then we went down through the summer, and then we went back up to like 69,000. Is that why they're thinking that? Historically, the cycles typically end like in the third quarter, end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, somewhere around there. So that's kind of why I'm thinking like third quarter would be where we might possibly end. I don't see why we would be topping out here in the next basically month or two. But that's, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see that. Okay. Fabric says he bought more Cleanspark as well. Let's see, Bevneet here. Seb, these miners have been such a big disappointment. Oh man, I wonder when they will finally run without being manipulated. Yeah, it has been a big disappointment, right? Depending when you got into them. If you got into them a little bit earlier on, when they were crashing, you're probably doing still okay. But if you bought in when the miners were higher in price, yeah, it's definitely not a fun experience. Okay, especially what is the expected hit on Mara with the new shares approval? Well, the new shares approval are just there for them to use down the road, right? It's not like they're going to be automatically diluting the full, whatever it is, 300 million or however many million shares they want to get there. So that's going to be down the road, just like who else did this? I think Cleanspark did this, IREN did this, Riot did this as well, where they're just putting more shares that are going to be available to the company down the road to possibly use for dilution or other things as well. So it shouldn't affect it right away. Let's see, Nick Lee says, thanks for the analysis. I believe Bitcoin is not done yet. Okay, so you're kind of in my camp too. I still think the same thing. Hi Seb, do you think Riot and Mara will have good earnings results due to FASB rules? Thanks. Yeah, I think the FASB rules are definitely going to help them out. It'll be interesting to see how close they got to being positive without those though. I think Riot might take a little hit on Bitfarms shares that they have there, right? They have about 19% of Bitfarms shares. So they might have taken a hit because Bitfarms has come down towards the end of the year on that a little bit. I don't know what the dollar amount is going to be on it, but I'm guessing it's going to be, probably tens to 20 millions of dollars, something like that on it. And then the FASB rules should help. So we'll see how that comes out. All right, let's see. Question, comment. Seb, Trump has been terrible for the market so far. Absolutely terrible. Only word in his vocabulary is tariffs. Every time he opens his mouth, the market goes down. Uncertainty. Markets do not like uncertainty. So that's kind of what we're getting there right now. And fingers crossed, hopefully this only lasts for the next couple more months while he, does all these things that he wants to do and kind of uses it as a negotiation tactic, whatever he wants to do there. We'll see. I'm hoping that's not going to be a 4-year term thing where it's constant. I'm hoping that eventually it will kind of even out. Let's see, Eddie says here, not a question, but I think we will bottom mid-late March and then rise to all-time high either June, July to 140 with BTC flat. It presents an opportunity for miners to make consistent profits. May ER will be good. Okay. So you only think, yeah, I would think that with Bitcoin being at these levels or going up to 140,000, that would be good for the miners. So you think that Bitcoin will only top out at 140,000 this cycle? Let me know. Just a question there. Let's see here. Heinze has a question. How was everyone's weekend? Mine was great. I hope you guys had a great one as well. Hope you all are ready for this week. Also, Seb, hopefully you will watch the interview with me and my buddy had with Jeff Booth. Where'd you have the interview? Seb, hopefully you'll watch the interview with me and my buddy had with Jeff Booth. Let me know if you can provide that or the link to that. I'll definitely take a look at it. Okay, let's see here. Benny, Seb, can you pull up the last cycle and see when we topped out? Yeah, we can definitely take a look at it. Last cycle, let's go to Bitcoin here again. And last cycle, let's go on to maybe the weekly chart here. So here's the weekly, here's our cycle now, right? Here's the halving event that we had back in April. Last halving event we had here, which was on May in 2018. And then we finally, rallied into April of 2021. Then we had the crash here because of China Bitcoin mining ban. That triggered that sell-off at that point, along with Tesla not allowing purchases of their vehicles through Bitcoin anymore. That had an impact on it, and then the market rebounded here to They're at 69,000 back in November. So if we didn't have this part here where we had all this FUD and the China ban and Tesla and other things as well that happened in this interim, I think we possibly could have gone up higher, right? We could have probably gone up to like 100,000, but this was the catalyst of what we got a double top basically because of it. If you look at prior cycles as well, you can see here that we topped out in December in 2017. I don't think my chart goes all the way that far back, but typically Bitcoin, top out towards the third quarter, fourth quarter of the year at that point. So that's why I'm thinking this cycle, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm still thinking that we might not top out until later on in the year. Only time will tell though on that one. Okay, back here. What else we got? B82 says, be careful on FSB profits. They are a one-time catch-up and not indicative of ongoing operational profits. Not a one-time. They can be a quarterly thing as long as Bitcoin goes up in value. So if Bitcoin goes up in value from end of Q4 to the end of Q1, then they can reevaluate those profits again on the balance sheet there. Now, Bitcoin goes down, they're going to have to reevaluate those, and they're going to get kind of dinged on it. So it works both ways. Par says it's not 10 to 20 million on Riot. Well, they own about 100 million shares at an average of $2. Is it that high? I thought it was lower. So that's why I was thinking it might be lower. I was thinking that they were like buying it at like the $2 range or something like that, because they offered $2.34 for the buyout. Remember that? And then they were buying it before that, so that's why I thought it was going to be lower. So we'll see what that comes in at. I don't know exact numbers where they were buying it at. Let's see. Question here, Seb, you're absolutely right. It's the uncertainty. I would rather have him place the tariffs so that we can move on in life. People deal better with bad news than with uncertainty. Yeah, that's all that's right now triggering the market. Okay, Eddie here. My prediction for Riot tomorrow earnings release will end up like Cleanspark. Yes, FSB will show they had an increase from BTC rising, but they have horrendous mining operations. Without FSB, they are losing millions. That's what we want to see, right? How close do they get to breaking even at least without the FSB being a part of it? So we'll see how that comes out. Riot's operations have been improving though over the last couple months. So we'll see where they end up at. They also get the power credits that helps them out there. Mara's in a different boat. Mara has, I think right now, I think it's still 55% that they own outright for sites, and the other 45% is still hosted. So they're paying a higher price for the hosting part of it than they do for the regular owned sites. So we'll have to wait and see. David says, wait till they find out Fort Knox is Geraldo Rivera's vault. Yeah, I know that Trump and Musk want to go take a look at it. Kind of interesting to see what's in there. Question here, okay. How do you see CORZ by end year, by the end of this year? Well, they're getting close to getting actual revenue from CoreWeave happening here, but I think it's going to be happening by the end of the first half into the beginning of second half, right? So if everything's on time and everything is getting installed and done, then they should be getting close to getting revenue from there. That should help out. They also bought a new facility here that they're going to be retrofitting and things like that. So they're looking to grow more into the HPCI business. We need to see what kind of business contracts they get or customers they get there as well. If those are good, then that could also have a pop on the stock. But I think the stock should be valued much higher from where it is right now. But we'll see. Okay. Let's see. All right, Eddie, to answer your question, I think we will peak either 140 in July, drop back down to 80, consolidate for dead months until November, and then we rise to 180 for the last. Okay, so you're thinking, okay, that we would have possibly a peak right around there at the end of the year. So 142 into July. So we'd go up, and then during the summer months, we'd come back down. I mean, that'd be 80K would be, what would that be? That'd be more than 30% drop from 140%. I don't think that would happen. If we go to 140,000, I think we might drop down to like maybe 95 again or something like that. I could see that happening, but 80, I don't know. We'll see. Either way, 180,000 was what I had actually thought Bitcoin could do this cycle. This was before all the talk of adoption, the ETFs, everything else. But we'll see. All right, what are the chances of Cleanspark going to 20 bucks within the next 3 months? What would need to happen for that? Well, we would need Bitcoin to go up in value, and Bitcoin would have to go up to like, 140, 150,000, something like that, maybe higher. I don't know exactly where, but I think with Bitcoin going up, I think that would help. So within the next 3 months, and if Bitcoin does go up within the next 3 months, that could possibly happen here. Let's see here. Seb, thanks for pulling up the chart. Did I see that in February, March, we were red, and April it took off for last cycle? Let's take a look at it here. Let's see how that played out. For last cycle, we are here. Let's see. So this is January. January was green. February was green. March was, or let me see. This is February. Yeah, February was green. February. Let's do the maybe monthly here because I was doing the weekly. All right, let's go by month. So in the 2021 run, we had basically October in the green, November in the green, December in the green, January in the green, February in the green. Then we had March in the green, and then we actually had April where we had a wild wick here. And we went way up, and then we came back way down, and then kind of bottomed out here more or less. But then we had May that we were in the red, June in the red, green in June, July, August, red in September, and then another nice green month here in October. November we went up higher, but then we kind of started to go back down in November at that point. So that's how it's playing out right now. How are we looking right now? Well, we had the halving event. We had basically September in the green, October in the green, November in the green, December was in the red, January was in the green, and then February is looking in the red right now. We'll see. Okay. We'll see how it's going to play out. I still think we're going to go up towards the end of the year. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, whether we go to 140, 150, come back down, or we could just go on to 180,000 slowly. Who knows? The only thing we do want is for it to go up. So regardless how it gets there, we want it to go up. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, Mark says everything looks depressive. Market does opposite of what people think. So many people said February is positive. Historically, that's what it looked like, right? February historically has looked positive. It hasn't been playing out that way. We still have a couple more days. It could still change. We'll see. Okay, Ben says question, if Cleanspark goes to 20, can you play us a song on the guitar? Yeah, I'll play a little bit of Master Puppets. I know a couple riffs in Master Puppets. Bitcoin's going to be our Master of Puppets. All right, thoughts on Hive. I'm long this year. They're growing 300%. They just bought new farms in Paraguay. Yeah, I do like Hive for that reason, right? I do like seeing the growth because I have been nagging on them about the growth that they've had here in the past. Now, the growth for this year is really, really good, right? Going from 6 exahash basically to 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter is great. My only concern for them, and I've been talking about that, is their cost to mine Bitcoin here has been relatively high. It's around 70,000 per Bitcoin right now. That's high. So I'd like to see that come down. If that does come down here in the next couple of quarters, that would be good as they increase their hash rate, get in newer machines as well. I think that might drive some of the costs down. But we need to see that. We don't want to see that cost of mining going up beyond the 70,000 per Bitcoin. We want to actually see that coming down. So that's my only concern there for them. All right. At what point can we definitely say we are in a bear market? Which indicators are most reliable? I mean, I don't know exactly when we can say we are in a bear market. I guess if Bitcoin goes down 30% from the top of 109,000 here recently, and we go below that even to like 40% drop or something like that, then we could say, okay, maybe we have already peaked and we're going down that way. Historically, Bitcoin has gone up and then come back down about 30% roughly, 30 some percent, and then, continues to rally back up. So I haven't seen that yet as far as going beyond that, which I think is a good sign, which leads me to believe that not the market, but the rally is still not over with completely. So that's kind of what I'm looking there. All right, let's see. Question, if you think CORZ is going up, are you buying again? It's my largest holding. It's also my dad's largest holding as well. My dad still owns a bunch of it. I don't know if I'm going to be buying it. I think the upside with CORZ, I think it's still going to be pretty good, but I think some of the other miners might do better. And the reason I say that is because it's pretty much, I mean, you already know what you're getting with their deal with CoreWeave, right? And that's the biggest thing that they have there. The only question mark there is, can they get new deals and for HPC-AI as well from the new set that they're bought and things like that? Can they, how much growth can they have from that? Their Bitcoin, we're still waiting on them to get the new block miners. Haven't really heard anything about those. That's about 15 exahash to replace some of the older generation miners. If they do that, that's great. And Bitcoin going up, that's going to also help for them. But I think the biggest thing for them is you already know what the revenues are going to be for the next basically 10 to 12 years, unless they really do get a lot more customers for HPC-AI. That's the only thing that's going to really drive the stock up there, I think. All right. See, Mr. Seb, how high you think Bitfarms Cleanspark Hot 8 IREN can do when BTC is 150,000? I mean, that's roughly a 50% increase for Bitcoin. I would think at that point the mines would do at least 100% gains, so like a 2x from where they are right now, I would think. And then they can possibly do even better. But that's kind of what I'm thinking as far as what would happen. But they could do better. All right, let's see. Do you have a historical HODL quantity for miners back to previous cycles? I do have a lot. I don't have it going back to, let's take a look. I don't think I have it going that far back. Let's take a look at Marathon here. Marathon, right, it's been hodling for probably one of the longest ones. Maybe even Hive has been hodling for a longer. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have here for them. So let me put that over here. And then here is the chart. So Bitcoin hodl, okay, we got that there. Let me undo rows 2 through 25. Okay, so I started tracking hodl after the peak of last cycle. So I don't have their hodl numbers from like 2021 and beyond or below that, right? So we do know that Mara bought like 4,000 Bitcoin, I think, back in, was it 2021 or was it 2020? I can't remember now exactly, but they bought a substantial amount there for what they actually had at the beginning at that point. And yeah, so I think that's as far back as we can go, is maybe May of 2022 is when I really started tracking that. So I don't have it going all the way back, no. Let's see, put that back, okay. Let's go back here. Okay. Lynette Zhang says that the Bitcoin is a Trojan horse to usher in CBDCs. What are your thoughts? No, I don't think so. Yeah, central bank digital currencies. I don't think there's the willpower. Maybe in other countries, but I don't think at least in the United States that's the way we want to go. I know that there's laws being passed in states that they would basically ban it more or less, that they wouldn't allow CBDCs in that place. I think people still want to have some anonymity when transacting. They can do it in cash, they can do it in credit cards. That's not anonymity, but you know what I mean. They want to keep it the way it is, more or less, I think. So I wouldn't agree with that, at least not yet. All right. Chuck here has a question. Mara has a large HODL. What do you think is there long-term and short-term plans with their BTC? And what point will they sell large portions? Well, historically, Mara has not been a big seller of their Bitcoin. They've been historically a large accumulator, a large hodler of Bitcoin. They have sold a portion of it last year a little bit, but historically they've been just either buying it or from their mining operations, they've been just stacking everything and diluting the shareholders to do it. So they haven't done that. I don't expect them to do that where they're going to be selling a large portion of it. I can see them maybe selling a little bit, maybe, but I mean, recently they've turned into a baby MicroStrategy more or less when it comes to their HODL position, right? They're in number 2 spot, I think, for corporations that HODL Bitcoin. For that reason, I don't think they're going to be selling anything. I think they're going to continue to HODL it. They could possibly lend it out, get some kind of a percentage on that. But I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of that they would do with it right now. They could also maybe get BTC-backed loans, but people got burned on that as well back in 2022 in the bear market. There were quite a few companies that had BTC-backed loans, and then they got hit pretty hard because of it when Bitcoin was coming down, and they had to sell large numbers of their Bitcoin to cover their losses, more or less, basically at that point. So yeah, that's kind of what I see there. All right, let's see. Frenchies guys, I bought CORZ, Scientific, and bankruptcy. I win a lot of money, but I hold. And you? My dad bought before the bankruptcy, and then he bought also into the bankruptcy. He didn't buy at the very, very bottom when it was like 8 cents. He got into it, I think, in like the 30 cents, 40 cents, somewhere around there. So he's doing really good as well on it right now. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. KOA has a question here. Just joining in. What do you think the next 2 weeks look like in the market? Please also give your overall outlook 2 to 3 months for Cleanspark and IREN. Thanks. So what do I think is going to happen in the next 2 weeks? Oh gosh, I have no idea, to be honest with you guys. In the market, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's not my forte as far as where things are going to go. As far as 2 to 3 months for Cleanspark and IREN, as long as Bitcoin goes up, I think they'll go up as well. If Bitcoin holds steady where it's at right now or goes sideways for the next 2 to 3 months, Cleanspark and IREN probably going to go down, I would think at that point. Like they have been here recently, they might go up a little bit and then come back down some more. We just need Bitcoin to go up. We need the markets to go up as well at that point. Let's see here. Hey Seb, I know you don't do charts, but what do you support? What is your support for Bitfarms? Just like what might be the floor be when we are dropping like this. Love your work since 2021. Oh, well, great. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at what we have here for Bitfarms really quick as well. Let's see. Let's go over here. So this is on the monthly. Let's go to weekly, and then, well, let's go to daily. I think we are, I mean, this thing has been bought. Let's see. When's the last time it was this low? Last time it was this low was back in November of 23. Wow. Okay. So it's definitely getting its rear end kicked in here a little bit. And we really don't have much as far as support is concerned. From here, I mean, the recent support that we do have here is roughly right around here, $1.30, it seems like. And then going further back, let's see, is there a support? I mean, we do have some maybe, yeah, it's like $1.30, maybe I would say it might be the support. If we don't, we might be going down to like 90, well, it might be going down to like $1. I think there's a lot of support here at $1 range as well. So that's kind of where I would be looking for things. But yeah, it's definitely gotten beaten down quite a bit from where it was at a high of 391. This was back in February of 2024, which a lot of miners were doing pretty good at that point as well. Okay, let's go back here. Let's see, talked about that one already. Let's see here. Do you think Mara stock price goes up after earnings report? I think it will. I think it will pop, depending where Bitcoin goes. I mean, we saw that with IREN a little bit. IREN popped and then it came back down. Cleanspark did the same thing. We might see the same thing. We might pop a little bit, but we really need to see what they report. All right. Let's see. Sarmelon Gaming here. Question, Seb, these companies took billions from investors, went years of losing money, and most are continuing to dilute and raise money. It will take years of profitability for them to even break even. Well, not all of these guys. IREN is already profitable, right? Cleanspark is supposed to get there this quarter without the FSB rules. So you already have companies getting to that point. It's just getting to scale. Getting to scale is a tough part. And if you don't get to scale, like anything else, right? For how many years did Amazon bleed investors basically while they were just throwing everything into growth mode to get to scale, right? Get their warehouses and all this distribution centers and everything else that they needed. And now they're making buku bucks. I'm not comparing them to Amazon or anything like that because that's totally different businesses, right? Bitcoin's a heck of a lot more volatile, but you need that scale, and that scale solves a lot of issues, especially if you have one corporate office, right, more or less. You have a certain number of overhead there. As you scale, that cost for that becomes much lower percentage of the overall company's business, basically. And if you can't get to scale, that cost there, because they are paying, you know, the people, the CEOs, CFOs, all the different execs there, they're paying them, I mean, you could say probably a couple $1 million a year. So if you can't get to that scale, that's definitely going to be a thing that weighs you down all the time. So you need scale, and you need to grow. They're in growth mode right now, and you kind of have to expect that there's going to be dilution because of it. But what are you getting for that growth also is important. Are you getting more value from infrastructure? Their assets are going up in value and things like that. Then that's a good thing. All right, so that's kind of where I see things, though. Okay, question number 2, could this be where no one wants to hold the miners? I mean, I don't know. I mean, institutions are still buying into them. I think right now it's the retail is capitulating more than the big fat money, the fat cats, fat, whatever you want to call it. So I think eventually they will get into it again, but people have been definitely hurt in the last, I would say, year with the miners for the most part. So all you need is a couple of days where they go up 10, 15%, and people are going to be going back into them, especially Bitcoin starts going back up. All right, update here. Looks like Microsoft is planning to cancel the expansion plans. Not sure if true, but I am sure this will affect the miners with HPCI. Said, what are your thoughts? If it is true, I don't know if it's true. I thought they were still spending, what do they plan on spending, like 80 or 90 billion dollars this year or something like that in expenditures for HPC AI growth. So I think that's still happening, but if they do cut back on that, that may weigh down the HPCI miners, right? Because we only have really a couple hyperscalers, a couple big players that could possibly want those huge megawatt sites or even gigawatt sites. So that would be a concern there, I would think, right? People would be a little fearful of those, maybe that they can't get the contracts there or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing, Grok 3 for X came out. That's really good. I think that's now coming up in like the top numbers as far as a couple metrics that they use there for it. And that was done with 100,000 GPUs, I think it was, right in Memphis that they built out Colossus. So maybe you don't need that much, but I think you're still going to need it because anytime somebody does a query on one of these large language models like OpenAI, Grok, Google's Gemini, I think it's called, Microsoft is using OpenAI, but you need those GPUs there to process it all and spit out the answer basically. So you're still going to need that. Maybe you don't need as much for the learning process of it all. We'll see. Justin says, I'd rather just hold my miner bags at this point just because, yeah. Tax harvest if they are still down in December. Okay, so you're going to tax harvest next year if they're still down for tax reasons. Okay, not a bad plan there. The question, if you look back to 23, Bitcoin is up 290%, IREN is up 234, Cleanspark is up 211%. What do you make of that? From the bottom, if you look back to we're going back basically 2 years now, right? Or from that point, if you're going back to that point, then yeah, the miners have more or less, we can see that, I don't know if you can see it here, but I have a chart for that. Where's my chart? Where's that chart? Miner comparison, no. Market cap, no. Monthly, weekly, miner comparison chart. Is that it? And here, no, that's just on their growth. Where do I have that? Stock performance, here it is. Let's go to this one here. So this is, let's see here. There it is. From 1/3/23, right? If we look at it that way, this is price percent difference from 1/3/23. This is kind of more or less where the miners have bottomed out. They bottomed out in December of 2022. So really close to that, off a little bit here, but you can see that IREN's up 814%. Cypher's up 757%. Bitcoin's up 442% since then. And then Cleanspark's up 360. So we got a couple that have outperformed here. And then the rest are kind of a little bit behind Bitcoin, like Cleanspark, Hut, Marathon, right, Riot, even CORZ, and Bitfarms as well. But they're still up, 2x, 3x, some are 7x, 8x already as it is from the bottom. But who actually got in at the bottom, right? So unless somebody timed it perfectly, that's awesome if you could have done that. You're doing pretty good right now. And you probably done a little bit better last year as well when they were higher priced. They were probably up even higher in percentage-wise than what we've seen here. But if you at least got close to those price points, you're doing pretty good right now. But yeah, so it's definitely, how can I put this? It's more or less what we would think, but I would have thought more of these miners would have been up past Bitcoin performance here. So they have been lagging here at least since then. All right, back here. Okay, let's see, got this one here. Why didn't it pop up? There it is. Okay. If a particular miner is not operationally profitable in BTC, why not turn off the miner and use the dollars to buy HODL? Obviously, cost of miner infrastructure is already fixed. Mara versus MicroStrategy versus IBIT. So you can actually, I mean, I have to look into it, but I think you can at that point still mine it at a lower cost. Your energy cost is lower, right? So you can buy it at a lower cost than what you would be buying it for spot. But we'll see what they come in at, especially Mara, whatever they come in at for their quarterly results here. We'll see how that all looks for them. All right. Bro, do you buy MicroStrategy? I have not bought MicroStrategy. My belief, at least that was my belief, my thought, was that the miners would do better than MicroStrategy. But last year, MicroStrategy actually did better than the miners did. I'm thinking this year that might not be the case. I think where the miners might actually do better than MicroStrategy. But I believe you should at least own a little bit of MicroStrategy if, in your portfolio there. All right, let's see. Ads are way louder than your volume. Okay, I know my volume. Let's see if we can juice it up a little bit here maybe on my volume. All right. For you, what is the best miner to hold long term? The only ones that I would maybe hold long term are the ones that have like good HPCI deals and contracts in place with somebody like Core with CoreWeave. You got maybe even Wolf, I would say, right? They have a pretty good deal there that could have some good revenue for them going forward if the contracts get extended out. But that's about it, I think. Maybe Bit Digital as well. They have a smaller business, but they're still generating quite a bit of revenue there from their HPCI business. The other miners that are just playing it right now, I wouldn't hold past this cycle unless they do get a good customer there. All right, your data may be better, but a quick look, it seems cost to mine BTC has tracked BTC price. Will miners ever get ahead? There are times where miners get ahead, and the times the miners do get ahead is usually like when Bitcoin goes parabolic. There's usually a good maybe 6 to 9 months where the miners do make a lot of money because Bitcoin price is going much faster in appreciation and percentage-wise than the network hash rate. So that's where they really do make a lot of their money there. All right, let's see, if I had to bet, I think it would be Cleanspark for a pure BTC miner play. That's why I have Cleanspark for that, and then I have IREN for a mix of good, really good Bitcoin mining there, and also the HPCI potential with the 2 gigawatt site there. So playing it a little bit both ways. Okay, straight up question and looking for honest answer. Have we been scammed by Bitfarms? I don't think any company scams, but that's just me. Maybe I'm naive at that point. I try to look at the positive in things. I don't think anybody wants to scam anybody. So I don't think we've been scammed. I think how do I put this? I think Ben is trying to turn the ship basically in a different direction from where it was heading in. And as a result of that, that's having an impact on their growth strategy, all that stuff, everything else. So that's kind of what I think. But yeah. See, people want to hold miners. They are near all-time high market cap. Market cap, yes, I think, yeah, you're probably right there. Let's see. Thank you, Sebastian. You're very welcome. Let's see. BTC falling. We're at 95,744. We're not really falling. Sol is falling too right now. Let's see. Pro crypto president in USA and Bitcoin in 95,000 most on March 2025. By now, Riot at $10. Patience, my friends, patience. Do you think CORZ stands to gain the most during this Trump administration? The U.S. is aggressively pursuing AI. I don't think so. They don't have the megawatts unless they unplug the rest of their Bitcoin miners. They could possibly do that and retrofit their facilities there, possibly. But they just don't have the megawatts right now to be in that spot where I think a lot of the players, right, whether it's SoftBank or others, are looking to get things up and running as fast as possible potentially. So I don't think so. All right. You just saw data that many miners have not outperformed BTC over 2 years. Is dilution the reason? Can you compare market cap over this time versus BTC? There is a way to do that. Let me see if I can do that for maybe a video later on this week. I'll see if I can figure out what the market cap was of the miners throughout the cycle, or at least maybe through maybe the last 3 years or something like that. I'll look into it, see if I can do that. But I'm sure dilution plays into it as well, right? Dilution, and then the halving event as well played into it. I think some of the shorts are playing into it as well. It's just not one thing. I think it's a combination of things. All right, let's see here. Once you sell out of this cycle, are you going to buy again next cycle? If we have a similar cycle where we peak towards the end of the year and then we go into a bear market, yeah, I'll probably rinse and repeat, try to do it again. But that's if we have a similar cycle. If we have an extended cycle, then maybe probably not, right? We'll see where we end up at in 2026 and 2027. All right, let's see. Did Mara vote go through regarding shares dilution to 800 million shares? If it went through, do you think this will be a bad thing? So that's just adding more shares to their availability to use down the road. It's not that that's going to mean that they have 800 million shares outstanding right now, right? So I think it's going to go through. I haven't heard if it went through already. I think they're having a vote on it. Or did they have the vote on it already? I can't remember. But yeah, that shouldn't be a bad thing. Let's see. Question, would you be worried if Cleanspark ever dropped to $6? No, at $6, I'd be definitely getting worried. My average on it is like $5 something. So I would definitely start getting worried. Yeah. Do you have any worries about the short interest in the miners and that there's a possibility that this cycle's highs have been reached? I don't yet. Bitcoin hasn't fallen below, I would say 78,000, 75,000. If it falls below that to like 65,000, 60,000, then I'm getting concerned. Because then at that point, that leads me to believe that the cycle is over. But we haven't seen that yet. Bitcoin's still trading sideways here, more or less. We're doing okay. We're not that bad yet. Okay, let's see. Covered that one. Okay, Cypher Mara. Mara percentage of market cap in BTC is getting ridiculous. Yeah, I think Mara is possibly more undervalued right now than Cypher is. So yeah, I would probably go with Mara at this point, but I want to see what their quarterly results look like. Okay, question, do you think Bitcoin break down first below 90,000 before making the next leg up? I mean, historically, Bitcoin has come down about 35% at most during a bull run. We've seen that plenty of times before with Bitcoin here. So we saw that happening here where we topped out at 73,000 back in March of last year. Right, then we had a wick down here to approximately, what was it, 48, 49,000, whatever it was. That was roughly a 30%, 33, 34% correction at that point. If we look at the weekly chart, I think we might be able to see it here, but we saw last time as well, we had these corrections happening where Bitcoin was going up and then we had a correction, right? This was back in the 2021 cycle, right? We got to a high here, went down approximately 30%. So we've had this over and over. We've had it here as well. We've had it, well, obviously we're going down here, but we've had it as well. Let's see, this cycle here, we had it here was definitely a longer duration where it took that time to do it. And then we're not quite there yet, even now. Even now, if we look at the peak here, well, the peak happened here after we went down, but if we look at from the prior peak of it was 107,000. Down to here, this was only, where is it at right there, about 15, 16%. So yeah, it's not that bad yet on it. That's why I still think that the cycle is not over with, right? If you have a drop down to the, like I said, below 75,000 to 70,000, 65,000, whatever it might be, then I'm starting to get worried here, but not yet. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're going to possibly trade sideways here for a little bit more, a couple of days, see if this wedge pattern plays out. If it does play out, we might break out of it some way in early March, potentially. But right now, we've just been, going sideways like crazy here on it. And in a way, it's good. It's accumulation. I'd definitely like to see it to drop down a little bit more, go below 90,000 and finally get out of there. But I don't think it's going to happen. At least it's not playing out that way right now. We got to a low here of, what was that, 80, 9,000 here. I already had that kind of come down there. So we'll see if this wedge plays out. If it does play out, then that's going to be good for us to where we possibly go up. But unless we break that wedge, we might be going down to like the 80,000, 78,000 mark and get that 30% correction in place. All right, what else we got here? Okay, talked about that one. All right, why is there a 3-4x difference in how Cleanspark versus Mara are valued based on their Bitcoin hodl? Thanks. Yeah, well, Mara bought a bunch of it. I think maybe that's part of it. Mara's cost to mine is also higher. That might be part of it as well there. So I think maybe those things kind of play into it as well. All right, see, Nick says, yeah, Mara already voted yes on increasing. Okay, so that's done and over with. Let's see, will you buy more Cleanspark when it drops to $5? If it drops to $5 and Bitcoin's still around these levels and hasn't dropped down to, like the 65,000 mark or whatever it might be, then I might buy if it's still here, because at that point it's just being heavily manipulated, and eventually I think we'll catch a bit up. Okay, let's see here. Losing faith. Tell me not to just pull everything and go into index funds. LOL. That is your call. Right, you guys know what I'm doing here. You know what my plan is, more or less. I will dollar cost average down more if I need to, a little bit more. I just don't think that the cycle's over yet. I could be wrong on that. I could definitely be wrong on that. But based on what I'm seeing here, at least right now, I don't think so. But you guys got to make that decision on your own. Let's see here. You are right. They fired 2 SEC and approved, but like Seb said, it doesn't mean they are diluting right away. Yeah, right. For Mara, yeah. If they got the 800 million, that's just 800 million that they can pull from. That doesn't mean that they have that outstanding or in the market, basically, public market to trade. So it's going to take a while for that to happen. All right. Okay, and then my dividend stocks have done so well year to date. I have sold some and bought miners on Friday dip. Nice. Let's see. It's been 3 long years. Our time has to be soon, right? Well, I would hope so. I was hoping the miners would start running into, like November, December of just last year here. That didn't really play out that way, and usually they'd be running right about now. But we need Bitcoin to run. So if Bitcoin runs, I think we might be okay. If it doesn't run, then it might be over with. Do you think there is a market manipulation going on with the mining stocks? If so, how long can it last? I think there is. I honestly think that there is manipulation happening here. The big guys are in this now more than ever than they have been in the past. We are seeing definitely more shorts in this space as well. And with the big guys in here, they're going along some things and shorting the miners, or even, keeping the miners down at this, whatever. They're trading it, maybe range bound trading it. They go down to a level, go back, run it back up a little bit, right? Make 20, 30% on it, whatever it is, bring it back down and repeat. So when will it end? I don't know. I think Bitcoin would need to go up. I think that's the catalyst for that to change. But we shall see. Okay, I talked about that. What do you think Mara would use dilution funds for? Buy more BTC or expand? I think it would probably be to buy more Bitcoin now, that what we've seen them doing, and then possibly to expand a little bit more. They just bought some wind farms here recently to put in their older generation machines in there. I thought that was great. But yeah, definitely they would probably want to grow some more, or they may want to look into possibly doing their own ASICs. I know that they're working with AREN there, but that's been kind of quiet here recently also. It's like, what's going on with AREN? So maybe we'll get some updates on that when they do report. Let's see. Right now, what's your top 3? My top 3 for me personally, it's Cleanspark, IREN, and I mean, gosh, I don't know who else to, maybe Core to put in there as well. Riot, would have thought Riot as well, but Riot's not growing their Bitcoin mining. They're looking for HPCI business, which you're kind of looking for, but you got nothing there yet. What else you got? Cypher has good growth here later on this year in the second half. BitDeer is a little questionable for me. Who else would you have after that? Hive might be pretty good if they can lower their costs to mine Bitcoin. So that's kind of where I'd be looking at right now. All right. Are the big BTC mining companies much stronger than they were last cycle? Do you think people are pricing in the next halving due to how low we are. They should be pricing it in right now. I don't think, that's not for another 3 years, basically. Shouldn't be that far out. Are they stronger than they were last cycle? Yes. All of these guys, for the most part, have much more megawatts under their belt. They have more hash rate. They have a bigger HODL position, if they have a HODL position. So their cash balance sheet, or their balance sheet, is much stronger than it was last time around as well. So they are in a much better position than they were even just last cycle as it is. Okay. Do you think ESG-friendly bit mining companies will have an advantage in the future? No. There was a narrative about that if you mine Bitcoin with 100% renewable or something like that, that you should get a premium on the Bitcoin. That has never played out. Nobody would pay the premium on the Bitcoin that you mine because it's environmentally, whatever ESG stands for, right? Environmentals, can't remember now. But you get the gist of it. The premium never materialized there. When I heard that at first, I'm like, that's stupid. Nobody's going to pay a premium. You're going to get Bitcoin because you're going to get Bitcoin, but you're not going to pay a premium because it was mined ethically and sourced with renewable energy. That was stupid to me at that point. All right, let's see. Buy low and sell high. Use options to protect downside or covered calls to force yourself to take profits. Yeah. All right. Question, do you have a table that shows the current electricity prices, cents per kilowatt, each miner company is paying? I have a table someplace, but it's outdated. I would need to update that. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for, the current numbers from the miners for their quarterly results. Once we get all that in, I'll probably update that again. Right. Let's see. Many YouTubers speak about Riot. They said to me is the best. Riot is good. I wouldn't say that they're the best. They have been improving here recently in the last couple of months, but their recent transition into trying to get HPCI business has lowered their expectations for Bitcoin mining hash rate growth, which I'm not a big fan of that. I think you should grow, especially if you believe we're still in a bull run of Bitcoin. But it is what it is. But unless you can really get a good deal for their HPCI with a hyperscaler or something like that, they got 600 megawatts there they could use up for it. That might be a good thing that kind of pushes the stock up that way. All right, and then let's see. If BTC rips up to 150,000 this year, is it possible for the miners to stay suppressed in price? The miners did stay somewhat suppressed in price after the halving event when Bitcoin ripped from basically 60,000 to 100,000, right? We saw that. I think the reason for that was because of the halving event. The revenues got cut in half in one day, and then it took them a while to now start actually, some of these guys are actually producing more Bitcoin than they did last year. But it took the growth that they were having there to do that, and now they're actually making more money than they did even last year or before the halving event. So I would think with that being done and over with these miners growing here tremendously here, going forward, Bitcoin does go up, I would think that the miners would run, but we shall see. Question, if BitDeer's CLM miner A4s wind up being at 6.5 joules per terahash, would that come out to be 15 exahash for every 100 megawatts? I'm not sure. I'd have to run the math on that. At that point, depending what the hash rate is of those machines as well, so we would need to see that as well. We could probably figure that out. I would have to run the math, but off the top of my head, I do not know. All right, let's see. Right, all-in cost to mine a coin was 125,000, not much better than Mara, 126,000 Q3. We will see Q4 soon for both. Yes. Yep. And all-in cost, you're looking at depreciation, stock-based compensation, all of that stuff in there as well. Let's see. You mentioned miners profit on quick BTC run-up. Will they ever steady state make profit or all rotate to other businesses? You would need Bitcoin basically to have a continued extended cycle where it just goes up year after year, but maybe slower than what we've seen here, percentage-wise at least, right? Dollar-wise, it could go up higher, but percentage-wise, it could be slower. So we could go up a year 20, 30% or 50%, whatever it might be. And as long as that happens and the network hash rate doesn't go up also 50% at that same point, the miners will be making more, right? So that would be one scenario where that could play out. All right. Let's see. At what point will you throw in the towel? And if you do sell out the miners, will you re-enter them again? Depends on the cycles. If we have a similar cycle like last time where Bitcoin peaked and then had a bear market, I might get back into these guys. When will I throw in the towel? I think I'll throw in the towel. If Bitcoin goes down here now, within the next probably couple months, down to like 60, 65,000, I may throw in the towel at that point. Be like, okay, the cycle's over with. So we shall see. But I don't think that's yet the case. Let's see. Can you send to me best companies in stock market work with miners? Not. Can you say to me the best companies in stock market work with miners? I'm not sure what you're asking there. The companies that work with the miners, like the ASICs manufacturers or the component manufacturers that go into the data centers. I'm not sure what you're asking there exactly. All right. See, Cleanspark is mining like under 50. I thought 50,000. Yes, they're mining at under 50,000 for. I think it's like around 54, 56,000 actually. If you include stock-based compensation, doesn't include depreciation, but includes everything else. I think they're like 56,000. They're at like 30-some thousand for just electricity cost. Okay. Gary says Cleanspark all-in cost for Q4 was 89,000. Average revenue was. So Q4 was 89,000. Average revenue 83,000. Okay. Yeah, so that's with, that includes depreciation there at that point. All right, I think we're all caught up here to all the questions here and everything else. So greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. We're going to call it a day. We've been going on a little, well, over an hour already. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. What do we got reporting here? Our friend Bitcoin Bella says it's going to be Riot reporting tomorrow, Cypher on Tuesday, along with BitDeer. Mara on Wednesday, Wolf on Friday, and Hut next Wednesday. So we'll have quite a few things to talk about here as things progress. We'll see where Bitcoin goes also later on as well. I mean, Bitcoin's down a little bit. It's down 0.59% right now on the new day. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where the miners go as well. We'll cover anything else that happens, and we'll deal with it at that point. All right. So that is it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. Hopefully you guys have a better week than we had last week. All right, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much again. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.